Good afternoon and welcome to America's Home Cooking. What am I doing? I have stuff left over from Thanksgiving that I'm still trying to get rid of. And I'll show you. Right now I'm roasting some pecans. I had leftover candied yams. And I just didn't want to throw them out. I want to save them and utilize them. I had some butter that was cold from making them, so I took that out and I measured it to get a half a cup or 1 stick of melted butter. So I used the butter that was in the sweet potatoes, added it to butter to make 1 stick. I melted it. I had liquid from it, so I measured it out. I think I want to have, how much do I have? I have 1/4 of a cup, so I'm going to be adding that to milk. I'm actually going to be making muffins with this to see if this works. Now, I took the candied yams, mashed them up like mashed potatoes. Tasted them. They're sweet, so I know these muffins are going to be very sweet. So I am going to add some pecans to them. I think a half a cup. I roasted them a bit. That's what you saw me doing. So I'm going to go ahead and chop them. If this turns out, I'm calling these sweet potato muffins. If it works, you know, as I say if, I always use that term, if. So we're going to chop these up. I think pecans would go better. I think you'd have too much of an earthy taste with the walnuts, so I think pecans would be better with this. Pecans were so plentiful when I was growing up in Texas. And we just went to the park and picked them up off the ground because pecan trees are very, very large. And if you went to the park, that's where the pecan trees grew wild. Man, you could just pick them up, come in with big baskets all the time. My mother would take us to do that, and we didn't have to climb any tree to get them. Man, they just fell off the tree. We had pecans. Okay, so we got the pecans chopped. So I'm going to take a different recipe and I'm going to change this recipe around and see what we come up with. All right, so fingers crossed, this is going to turn out. All right, set your oven to 375. This is going to make about 1.5 dozens, I think. Don't hold me to it. I could be wrong. We're going to need some all-purpose flour. Let's see. Okay, we'll put 1 cup of this in. Remember, I'm not concerned about them being fluffy and light and airy, that when you eat them, they mush down and you have nothing in your mouth. Mine you're going to have to chew. And I'm going to add a cup of whole wheat flour to it. I just don't want to waste these things, so I just figured there was a better way than to put them in muffins. Nobody ever thought about that, I think. I mean, I made pomegranate coconut muffins, and they were delicious. I'm going to be making them next week. We went through those in less than 24 hours. They were really that good. So I'll be making them again. I didn't know if it was going to work at the time, and I had other videos going, so I didn't show you that one as I was experimenting, but you're going to be on this one with experiments. Let's see, a cup of sugar. Oh, why not? We'll put a cup of sugar in this and see how it goes, because bananas are sweet. This is sweet. Yeah, it should work. Do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not on this recipe. You're going to really go off the deep end with this. I know I need baking powder, so I'm not using baking soda. So it'll be 2 teaspoons of baking powder, okay? Okay, for those of you that buy your baking powder, you're going to have to add in a teaspoon of baking soda because they put a retarder in yours. I have no retarder in mine, so as soon as I start it, it's going to go. Let's see. I'm taking a recipe and ripping it apart. Let's see. Okay. About 1/8 a teaspoon of salt. Not much, but that should do it. And throw your nuts in. And then we'll get to the liquid. My son said, "Do you know what you're doing?" Absolutely not this time. I've never used this in muffins, so this is going to be new for me. Nutty sweet potato muffins. Oh, I don't know the name of this. I'm going to think of the name of it when I do this. But it's coming out of my head. I'm taking a recipe and I'm stripping it and going in a different direction. Now this recipe calls for 1/2 cup of liquid. All right, I'm going to add milk with this. I think that would be the best thing to do. So I got 1/4 cup of the fluid left from the sweet potato yams. So I'm going to use milk to compensate to get up to 1/2 cup. Now if I had 1/2 cup of it, I wouldn't even add the milk. I would just use the liquid from the potatoes. I'd function, you know. So we got that. You need an egg for the muffins. You need a binder. This is our binder. Okay. We'll be adding hot butter to this. This is why I'm beating it up. Sweet potatoes have a lot of flavor, but I'm thinking maybe I should add some nutmeg into this. I'm still debating on that one. I have to add enough for 2 bananas. No, I want to add nutmeg to this. I can't change. I'm gonna nutmeg. I don't know why I'm thinking of nutmeg to add into this. I'm going to add it into the dry. How much? I have no idea. Just a little. I guess 1/4 teaspoon should do it. I give it just a hint, I think. A little more than 1/4. Maybe 1/2 teaspoon. All total. I think it will go nice together. Notice how I say I hope it goes nice together. All right, back to the liquids again. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. I need to add at least enough of 2 bananas. You know what? I'm just gonna put the whole bloody thing in there. I'm not gonna waste any. We'll just see how it comes out. interesting. If it comes out nice, it'd really be nice, you know that. Well, whatever name I give this muffin, it's coming out of my head. Just like that pomegranate coconut. That was so good. I was surprised it came out so nice. Let's pray this comes out. Fingers crossed. Oh, I don't need these now. Don't forget to grease your pan, I didn't tell you. It should come out. Nothing else, the flavors that get you going, they're autumn. And you see it's thick. Maybe I should add another egg, I don't know, we'll find out. Won't know until I make it. See, when you do things like this, you don't always know what you're going to come up with. Should you have added another egg to it? Oh, I don't know. More liquid? I don't know. See, I know pumpkin is thick, that's why I was careful. That was just leftover candied yams. Showed you how I made a turkey lasagna. We got rid of a lot of turkey. The only thing left would be to make a turkey casserole. And that will kill all the turkey. Okay. This is when you start praying because it's going into the oven soon. And you pray that what you've done isn't going to end up in the trash. Then you sit there saying, you know, I didn't want to waste the yams, but look what I did. I wasted a whole bunch. This is what people do. Experiment. I mean, I think I figured out how to keep the cake light and make it nutritious. Fingers crossed on it. How do I get this? I need a big one. Well, we'll find out. They are moist. I can tell you that much. They are. We'll find out how they come out. My son's asked me, what are you making? Wouldn't you like to know? See, a lot of people think potato biscuits. You know, I have recipes for that, but nobody's ever thought about this. And I got a lot of cookbooks, so believe you me, when I say people have not thought about this, I can say they have not. But these should be nutritious. We're using the butter, we use the liquid, and we're using the yams. From the sweet potatoes, we're actually using everything. It's going to need extra in it. Maybe I should have used my square muffin tin, but I didn't think about it at the time. got some that are really big in here. Now we're going to take some off of you and put it over here, definitely over here. All right, I think it's going to make just 12 according, I guess, how much you're going to put into it. Yeah. Find out in a bit if these work. Okay. It should cut about 20 minutes if I remember. 18 to 20. Just about 20 minutes. I was right. Trying to remember these cooking times is difficult sometimes with so much going on. So I'll see you in 20 minutes and we'll see how these things come out. Okay, they just came out of the oven. Here they are. They have to sit 5 minutes before we can try one. I'll try one and let you know how they are. I think I might have to add a little more nutmeg. I'll wait and see after we taste them. Okay, we're getting ready to try one of these. We'll see how they are. Oh, I am not hungry because I already ate. Okay, I think we're going to have to add more nutmeg, not a half a teaspoon, maybe a whole teaspoon, because I could not smell that when I was when they were baking. But here's the texture, and they are very nice. See that? Let's see what they taste like. They're moist and they're nice. Now you asked how many candied yams did I use? Enough for 2 bananas, maybe a little more. You need some more nutmeg, definitely. I am so full. Here I am eating. I don't know if I have any room. You will be quite surprised. Well, that's how you get rid of your candied yams from Thanksgiving. Just add a little more nutmeg. And the amount of candied yams is about between just a little over 2 bananas, to give you an idea. That's why I showed you the bowl. But they're good. Very good. So listen, I want you to take care. Have a great afternoon. And I don't know where I put this. My poor tummy is full. Take care. Bye-bye.